Well, now it's time to be inspired by our good friend, Cammie Jenkins, and this week's installment of Be Blessed. Take a look.
I've gone through a season of a lot of change lately. It's all wonderful, but a lot more has been added to my plate. And I want to approach all areas of my life with quality, so it takes a lot of work to get everything done how I want it done, even though I'm enjoying every second of it. Does anyone remember the old Atari game called Kaboom? I used to play it all the time when I was little. There is a mad bomber at the top of the screen moving back and forth and dropping bombs, and as a player I had a basket at the bottom of the screen that I had to move back and forth to catch the bombs so they wouldn't explode. The bomber always started out slowly, but as I succeeded in catching all the bombs, he started dropping them faster and faster and faster. It was so much fun, but you knew if you knee-jerk reacted wrongly at any point, you would miss a bomb and the whole world would explode. Well, sometimes I feel like I'm juggling so much of my life that I'm running around with that little basket just trying to catch all the bombs before everything explodes. Kids, work, home, laundry, meals, extracurricular activities. Does anyone else identify? Do you know what that does? It makes me rely on God every minute of every day. Life doesn't have to be bad to make me call out to God. But when life is good, I'm thankful to Him, and I know that God is allowing things in my life, so I need His strength to handle it all how He would want me to handle it. Philippians 4:6 says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He's done." I pray when life is hard, but I pray just as hard when life is good. I need God all the same either way. Be blessed.
That's my favorite verse in the Bible.
Is it?
Absolutely my favorite verse. It's got me through some really hard times because basically it says, be anxious for nothing. When you think about that and you think about your life and all the things you worry about, I mean, if you believe the Bible and you know that it's true and He tells us, be anxious for nothing, that's pretty powerful.
It is.
Isn't
I
it?
love Cammie.
Yeah.
I just love her.
She's a great person.
She really is. Like, that's the thing. When you see her on TV, she is just that way in real life.
Yeah.
And she's the same here in the studio and when she's with us, and she's so genuine, and I love that she's felt this calling to do this, and I just think she's really super great. And I love her, not just her Be Blessed, but she's a really great lifestyle expert as well, because she practices what she preaches. She does it at home. She has the kids, and she makes these fun, you know, treats, like food, and I just like her.
She's had some things that she's realized she had to get rid of the gluten in her life and different things like that. We have to pay attention to our bodies and what that means. And when you have kids, oh my gosh, you have to get that dinner on the table. You know?
I don't know how mamas do it, because I know my mom ran around ragged with 3 boys, and I know she has 3 boys, and it's just every single day. It never stops.
And sometimes I find myself, when I get home, just kind of mincing out of the you know, fridge, this and that or whatever, if Dave's not there or whatever, and it's like, it would be hard to have to get a meal on the table all the time. You do it pretty well.
I do it every night, yeah. I do not eat out hardly ever, except for when family's in town, of course. Yeah. And maybe a special occasion on the weekends, but I love to cook. You know me, in the summertime, it's all from the garden anyway, so I just go out and pick it and then make something. I don't know what it is.
And that is wonderful. I was thinking about that last night because I've got my little tomatoes growing and they're looking pretty good. And I read this thing about I have to keep the leaves off of the bottom because then it gets diseased if they're touching the ground, and that gets diseased, and it'll be a healthier plant if I keep those bottom leaves off. And so it's looking really great. It's got some little blooms on it, and I was just thinking how people used to eat out of their garden all the time and how better health we had back in the day because of that.
Yeah, I was also talking to a grandmother figure in my life. She's not my grandmother, but she's like a grandmother figure. And she went to Branson High School back in the 50s. And she was talking about how they just had smaller portions then, less preservatives. It was all healthier food. And she said, we hardly had any overweight people in our class.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just talking about, you know, the epidemic in our country with being overweight and the portion size and the food less healthy. She was like, she was just coming from a place of love, going, I just wish we could get back to where it's homegrown.
Yes.
You focused on local food. The portions were smaller. You got outside and you played.
Yes.
You know, you weren't just inside all day watching a TV or playing video games. And it really rang true to me when she was talking about that.
It really was a different lifestyle, even when I was a kid. I mean, like I say, I was rarely indoors. I mean, in the summertime, I was out playing touch football with the guys. I was riding my bike all over town. I was walking all over town and lived in Rogersville. I mean, I probably walked 15 miles a day. I kid you not.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
And it was a great lifestyle. lifestyle to have.
It really was. I was building tree forts.
Yeah,
at
we
my
had
grandparents'
one too,
house.
yeah.
And that, I mean, just the fun we'd play and the imagination that you use playing those fun games of, you know, people invading the castle.
Oh
It's
my
just,
gosh.
I know everybody probably loves their childhood, but I was like, I really loved my childhood.
I really did too. I think about this, like you were talking about, the imagination. Our neighbors had some corn, okay? And so I don't know how, maybe we snuck it. I don't know. You know how beautiful those strands are on the inside? We played like that was like fairy hair or like, and we had all this dreamed up. We just had the best time.
That's the best thing you can
great.
give a kid is the gift of imagination and tell them to use it all the time.
We dressed up all the time. It was so fun.
And I saw a quote, I wish I could remember it. Speaking of children, always dream big. There was this quote on Facebook that I saw that I just loved. It said, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Oh.
And I loved that. And I was like,
Yeah.
every kid should dream big. And I know, you know, not everything's going to happen in the way you want in your life. But if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
And that's funny, too.
Keep dreaming, kids.
I have a friend that opened a business, and her dad said this about her. She was too green to know better. To know...
Oh, it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's true. You can't let those fears take over, because if they do, then you'll never do anything. You know, speaking of the character that I've done, Cher, she was fearful of everything.
Oh.
It was Sonny that pushed her
Yeah.
into the
I remember you telling me
spotlight.
that.
She said, I have never done anything out of confidence.
But now she's so confident.
I don't really think so.
You don't think so? She comes across as super confident.
I know. I think she's surrounded by people who adore her, and she feels that. But I don't know that I don't know that that's in her personality.
You know, and I think you're right. Even the most confident people, when they're alone in their bathroom getting ready in the morning, everybody has doubts.
Yeah. Oh.
Everybody looks at themselves and goes, oh, see that flaw, see this, see this,
Yeah.
see this. And
Yeah.
But you go out to the world and everybody thinks, you're so great.
Yeah.
You're so amazing
Yeah.
and confident.
Yeah.
How do you do this? But everybody has those insecurities.
Everybody does. And then speaking of Sonny, he was a great songwriter, but he always had the fear that people would find him out, that he really wasn't that talented.
I have heard that not just about him. Numerous famous people who are very successful always think, I'm a fraud, I'm going to get found out.
Yeah.
I've heard that about so many
Isn't
people.
that so interesting?
That is crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, look how we went from Cammie Be Blessed
to
confidence and Cher.
and Sonny and
Sonny.
and yourself, whatever.
Anyway, we thank you, Cammie. Don't forget to follow her on social
Yes.
media as well. Cammie Jenkins. We
Yes.
love her.
Yes.